So here we have the P10 SCONPHO RGB video light. It's a tiny light. It's about $35 US or about 50 Canadian dollars. And this thing is actually pretty great. In fact, I do have two of them. Shipping time was pretty quick. But other than that, let's go ahead and just unbox it and see what we have here. Inside, you'll find the light itself, a little box, and inside that little box, you'll find the silica gel, the manual that explains everything you need to know about this thing, a USB Type-C cable, a synthetic felt pouch, which is pretty handy, but it doesn't feel all that great, and finally, a nice little ball head that can either be mounted through a hot shoe or into a mini tripod, which is pretty nice. So I have actually been using these for quite a while now, and I gotta say, the quality is pretty great, and the price point is just right. There are a lot of them on Amazon, and I have ordered a couple of them that are $100, and I ended up returning them because the light quality and output wasn't as good as these little things, which you can get, again, for about $35 US or about 50 Canadian dollars. On the front, you get a nice diffusion screen, and you can see the little LEDs through them. It does have dedicated RGB as well as dedicated white colors. It has 3 different sets. It's got the main RGB ones, as well as a warm and cool lights, and they're all inside this array. On the top, we have a dedicated power button. On the bottom, we have a tripod mount, as well as lanyard holes. On the left, there is nothing. And on the right is where you'll find all the controls. You got the Type-C charging port, and both of your dials that can be actually pressed in or flicked up and down. And finally on the back, you'll find the logo, the LCD panel that tells you all the information, as well as a nice little handy chart to tell you what colors are where. Red is 0 and blue is around 240. So it's a pretty nice handy chart because you will need it to actually adjust your settings. Now if you're wondering about the scratch, there is a protector here. Very nice. So let's go ahead and turn off the backlights. And with all the lights off, we can do a couple things. So first of all, we have the battery indicator, the mode, the power output, as well as the saturation and the color profile. So the H is where you actually adjust your color, and the S is how much color you want. So if you want a lighter color, we can go ahead and drop it down, and we should get something like a light blue. And all the way to 0, it will pretty much become white. Let's go ahead and increase the brightness output. And I go ahead and adjust the saturation once again using the small dial on a red color. So it's pretty handy, pretty quick. Now the next mode is actually the effects mode, and there are a couple different ones, but just a quick warning that there will be some strobing, and if you do have any issues with that, I would recommend skipping to the next part inside this video, which will be in the timeline below. So to enter the FX mode, you want to hold down the bottom button right here until it changes, and now we are inside the effects mode. Now first of all, in each effect, it will tell you what mode it is with this little icon. So right now we're inside of TV mode, and to me it's more like a candlelight or a fireplace. It's a nice warm light, but we can actually go ahead and change to different variants of each mode. So let's go ahead and zoom out. So here's A, here's C, here's B, which is more of a classic color for a TV, and back to A. Then we can go ahead and click once, and it'll switch to C, which is the RGB cycling mode, and it has a couple. You know, your typical RGB on computers. And then we have the police car ambulance type of mode. So here's A, here's B, and here is C. And finally, we have the lightning mode, which is honestly pretty cool. It's kind of like a thunder effect, but it's not randomized, so, you know, maybe limit its use. But we do have a B as well as a C, which you can go ahead and cycle through those to kind of get a more of a random effect. And finally, to exit out of that, you want to go to the next mode, and that would be the simple, the pure white color, which makes use of the warm and cool LEDs. Now if you're someone who has a keen eye, then you'll notice that some cheap LEDs have a color shift inside their pure colors. And with this thing, it's pretty damn accurate. I don't see a whole lot of color changes. There is barely any color shifting, and overall it shouldn't be too hard to match the color that you're looking for. And in my experience, from what I'm seeing, it is much better than a whole lot of LED panels that are much more expensive. Now of course, with these type of panels, there's no cooling. It's using the back aluminum panel to get rid of the heat, so be careful. And lastly, we have the battery life, which lasts about an hour and a half. The battery life here is pretty fantastic, and it's good enough for a couple projects depending on how you use it. And yeah, that is pretty much it for this video. These things are pretty damn awesome, and you are definitely getting a deal. You get a nice LED light that has some very bright colors, and you do get some accessories, which is pretty damn nice. Again, $35 US, unbeatable price, and shipping time took me around a couple weeks. And that is all for this video, so thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everyone.